Hey everyone, it's Mark. This is my recap for Pokemon Journeys episode 125, the Semifinals IV Shock. This was the 1210th episode of the Pokemon anime, as well as the third and final part of Ash vs. Cynthia. Let's talk about it. The episode picks up right where the last one left off. Cynthia has just Dynamaxed her Togekiss out of nowhere, and everyone is shook. Once Ash regains his composure, he knows it's time for Mega Evolution. After that, we cut to the opening theme, and then we just replay the Mega Evolution sequence. Lovely. They mention Ash and Lucario's bond a lot throughout this episode. I guess that's going to be the key to deciding this one. So Togekiss has 3 max moves to use, and it starts off with Max Airstream. Lucario starts charging up an Aura Sphere, and Ash tells it to dive into the Airstream. And Lucario starts running up the Airstream. I'm not sure how that's possible, but we'll just go with it. Lucario ends up firing its Aura Sphere before getting blasted backwards. Cynthia tells Togekiss to swat the Aura Sphere away, and she is giving off major Volo vibes with that look. Togekiss effortlessly swats the Aura Sphere away, much to everyone's shock. But we get right back to the action as Lucario closes in with Bullet Punch while Togekiss uses Max Airstream again. This time, Lucario just jumps over Togekiss, taking almost no damage from the Max move. It drills Togekiss with a Bullet Punch barrage in its back, dealing a ton of damage, while Togekiss just sends the Max Airstream into thin air. While it may not have really connected with the Max Airstream, Togekiss does still get the speed boost from it. Clearly, at least part of Cynthia's plan is to just boost Togekiss's speed here as she uses Max Airstream again. It takes the Max move head on, slowly building up an Aura Sphere. Lots of people watching are panicking at the sight of this, but once again, Ash and Lucario's bond will see them through, I guess. And yeah, I mean, it kinda does. While Lucario continues to build up the Aura Sphere, they activate their Aura Bond for the first time in this battle. Both trainer and Pokemon are in perfect sync, and together they start to push back the Max Airstream with their Aura Sphere. Slowly but surely, they repel the Max move and fight back. Cynthia tells Togekiss to swat it away again, but her Pokemon is so focused on keeping it at bay with Max Airstream that it can't move its body. Ash is putting so much of his aura into this attack that it even reaches Greninja, who can sense what is happening all the way from Kalos. We literally see Ash sending his own aura to Lucario. It looks like Lucario absorbs this blue life force, and this causes the Aura Sphere to grow even bigger. This was the last bit of energy that put it over the edge. The Aura Sphere connects with Togekiss. Huge explosion, and Togekiss reverts back to its normal form. But is it out? No, it's not. Togekiss just barely hangs on, but it does have 3 speed boosts now. Cynthia admits how much fun she is having, and now she's fired up for even more battling. Togekiss starts flying around so fast, I couldn't even grab a screenshot that showed Lucario missing its attack while Togekiss was still in frame. This Bullet Punch just goes into thin air. This is where I think Cynthia makes a mistake. She calls for Sky Attack, and Togekiss charges straight at Lucario. I guess its increased speed means that it doesn't have to charge up the attack like normal. Ash has Lucario evade with Double Team, but then decides to face Togekiss head on and calls for Bullet Punch. This is why I think Cynthia made a mistake calling for Sky Attack. Instead of using Togekiss's speed to keep its distance from Lucario, she allowed Togekiss to get within striking range. Lucario takes full advantage of this and lands what ends up being the decisive blow, as Togekiss is declared unable to battle. I thought Cynthia's strategy was on point right up until the end there. I'll get more in depth later in the discussion section of this video, but I do think her decision to use Dynamax instead of Mega Evolution had its merits. But now we're done a Garchomp versus Mega Lucario. Diantha once again comments on Ash and Lucario's bond, and the tension is building back up again as everyone realizes we are close to the end. Even Ash realizes the gravity of this moment. He's only 1 victory away from defeating Cynthia. Unfortunately for Ash, that last victory is going to have to be over Garchomp, who up until this point in the anime has been portrayed as undefeated and nearly unbeatable. As Diantha points out though, Garchomp is far from being at full health after its clash with Sirfetch'd earlier, and Leon speculates that Garchomp and Lucario are at about level when it comes to their remaining stamina. Ash is confident. Well, this causes Cynthia to take a moment and reflect. She reminisces with Garchomp about their experiences together and how they've grown stronger together. She claims that they will be the one to challenge Leon and calls for Scale Shot. Ash's Lucario rush straight in with Bullet Punch, not taking any damage from the Scale Shot along the way. They break things up with a Scale Shot versus Aura Sphere collision, which gives both Pokemon the time and space to retreat. They close in on one another again though, this time on the ground, and we get an extended duel between Dragon Claw and Bullet Punch. Both sides take massive damage here. I mean, there's not a ton of dodging or blocking going on, just both Pokemon hitting the other with all they've got. It may not be the most tactical battling, but it's definitely bringing this match very close to its end. Both Pokemon are near exhausted at this point, but Lucario appears to falter first. Cynthia, ruthless as ever, takes the initiative and has Garchomp charge in to land the finishing blow. Ash stays calm and busts out Reversal for the first time in a long time. Without even getting up from one knee, Lucario puts all of its remaining energy into this attack and lands a hit on Garchomp. It's hard for me to even tell if Garchomp made contact with its attack here, but both Pokemon fall to the ground regardless. At this point, I'm thinking, oh no, is it a draw? Everything is still for a moment, but then Lucario stands up. and Garchomp doesn't, and Ash is declared the winner. This kid is speechless. He still doesn't know how to react when he pulls off a monumental victory, but everyone else is quick to cheer for him. Ash does eventually start to celebrate. He and Lucario really did just defeat Cynthia's Garchomp. Unreal. Team Rocket are overcome with emotion. Same goes for everyone back in Pallet Town, and now Leon is more fired up than ever for the finals. Lucario offers its hand, or paw I guess, in a display of sportsmanship, and man, this is a weird sight. Ash standing over Cynthia in victory. The two trainers shake hands, and Cynthia thanks Ash for showing her that she still has much to learn. The announcer confirms that the 8th seed has made it all the way to the finals, and now Ash has a date with top-ranked Leon in the championship. They even showed us a preview of the leaderboard for the battle, so there's confirmation that it will be a 6v6 full battle. No word yet on whether or not they can use more than one gimmick during the match. Meanwhile, Cynthia runs into her #1 fan, Diantha, back in the tunnel, and yeah, of course she takes back what she said about retiring. I saw that coming from a mile away. Later, Ash calls out his Pokemon and they celebrate together, but Ash points out that they're not finished just yet. They still have the finals to win. And with that, the episode comes to an end with everyone celebrating like one big happy family. A fantastic end to a fantastic battle. I hope you all enjoyed Ash vs. Cynthia. Battles like that don't come around very often. Now, I don't know whether to focus this discussion more on the entire battle overall, or just this episode specifically. I guess I can start with some of the things I touched on earlier that I wanted to expand on. So let's start with Cynthia's strategy of Dynamaxing Togekiss. I said last week that I was going to wait to see it play out before I truly judged it, and now having seen the way Cynthia used Dynamax Togekiss, I can definitely see what she was going for. I think it's important to point out that this was Cynthia's decision. She thought this was the best course of action to get her the win, and I'm not going to fault her too much for that. Would it have been better to just Mega Evolve her Garchomp? That's debatable, and I think both sides have some solid points. Obviously, Cynthia using Dynamax in this fashion brought the shock factor. A large part of her strategy in this battle overall was keeping Ash on his toes, constantly throwing him off by doing so many different tactics and never letting him get comfortable. By Dynamaxing her Togekiss, Cynthia continued to surprise Ash, but this didn't stop him quite the way she might have hoped. Ash has battled plenty of Dynamax and Gigantamax Pokemon before, so he and Lucario were prepared to deal with this twist. It is worth noting that Garchomp's moveset is terrible for a matchup against Lucario. I mean, Stealth Rocks is useless at this point, and its other 3 attacks are all Dragon-type moves, so they're all not very effective on Lucario. Furthermore, Togekiss didn't really have much that it could do against Lucario either. We saw in the last episode that it wasn't able to make Lucario flinch, so really what was Togekiss to do in this battle? By Dynamaxing Togekiss, Cynthia was able to deal a lot of damage, raise its stats, and soak up attacks that Lucario sent its way. I'm really surprised that Togekiss survived G-Max Aura Sphere. That whole scene was awesome, but the battle wasn't finished just yet. It looked like Cynthia's plan had worked. After reverting back to its normal form, Togekiss was so fast that Lucario couldn't even land a hit. That's why I called it a mistake for Cynthia to use Sky Attack. She gave up the advantage she had created by allowing Togekiss to charge straight at Lucario, leaving itself vulnerable to be attacked. That aside, I still think Cynthia Dynamaxing Togekiss worked. I mean, she ultimately did lose the match, but there's no guarantee that Mega Garchomp would have won either, and you'd like to think that Cynthia was willing to take her chances with regular Garchomp going up against a depleted Lucario who just got through a grueling battle. I thought it was a little odd how they kept bringing up Ash and Lucario's bond throughout the episode, especially when we also saw Cynthia and Garchomp's bond, and they've been together for way longer than Ash and Lucario have, but the difference here is that Cynthia and Garchomp still don't fight as one, unlike Ash and Lucario. Their Aura bond has been shown to be pretty much unbeatable. The way they battle together is incredible to see. I do wish we had seen this get built up more consistently throughout Journeys. This doesn't feel nearly as special to me as Ash Greninja or even Infernape's Blaze, but I think it might be fair to say that Lucario is even stronger than both of those two at this point. While I was watching this episode, I was wondering to myself what Lucario's 4th move was, whether it was Steel Beam or Reversal. We didn't see either of them until the very last moment when Ash called for Reversal. In a way, this was like Ash pulling out his own trump card, only using that move as a last resort, thus maximizing its power. While I did appreciate the final exchange of attacks, what I wasn't a massive fan of was the way they handled the tense showdown afterwards. It was a nail biter, don't get me wrong, but to just show Lucario casually standing up while we were so zoomed out, that just felt like a strange choice to me. I thought that lessened the impact of the conclusion to this battle for me. I'm sure I'm nitpicking here, but hey, I'm nothing if not thorough in my analysis of the Pokemon anime, no? Oh, and in case anyone was still holding out hope for Ash to bring back his old Pokemon to battle Leon, yeah, that's not happening. It'll be his Journeys team that goes into the biggest battle of Ash's life. At least we got to see a Greninja cameo though, right? Anyways, let's wrap up our discussion of this battle in its entirety, which is a little difficult to do considering that this match went 3 episodes. This is only the 3rd battle in the history of the anime to achieve such a feat. but does that make Ash vs Cynthia a clear and obvious choice as a top 3 battle of all time? Well, no, I don't think so at least. Obviously, everyone has their own subjective rankings for what is the best battle ever. I'm of the belief that Ash vs Paul and Ash vs Kukui are in a tier on their own at the top, but I know not everyone feels that way. For me personally, I think I'm gonna place Ash vs Cynthia somewhere in my top 10 battles ever. I don't know, I have to think about that a lot more. I rewatched the previous 2 episodes last night, but I still feel like it's too early for me to judge where this battle lands in my all-time rankings. I don't have any ideas for a 10,000 subscriber special yet, and maybe I'll do a top 10 or top 25 battles countdown for that if people would be interested. Oh yeah, I guess I should give this episode a rating, shouldn't I? Episodes that bring such an epic battle to a close are usually in contention for a 10 out of 10 for me, but I don't give out that perfect score easily, and I'm giving this episode a 9.5 out of 10 rating. I have my minor complaints about this episode, but overall, I thought it was incredible. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this episode and the battle as a whole down in the comments. I quite frankly have no interest in hearing any of your opinions about the next episode though. I already know what the reaction is going to be. I know everyone is fired up for another recap episode, especially one about Go. Oh my god, my review next week is going to get like a 10th of the views that this video will. I can't wait, I'm so excited. Alright, that's enough out of me for today. I'm happy to continue the conversation over on my Discord server. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time.